All right. A little bit of wrestling recall. Wrestling recall. Trying it again. Second match. Second match in wrestling recall. Don't know if it's going to get anywhere. I did get one comment, I think two maybe, on wrestling recall. I don't know if you guys are going to like this little series I'm doing. I don't even know how long I'm going to do it because I'm not sure if anyone's going to like it. But the premise before I get to the match itself is that I'm going to scour YouTube. I'm going to find a match. It doesn't matter where it's from, whether it's from ECW, WWE, or WWE, well, WWF, or WWF, or NWA, or TNA, or Impact Wrestling and TNA again, or let's say Stardom, or I don't know if I would go to Stardom, or DDT or anything. I haven't made that decision yet of how far I'm going to go with a match. If I can see a match that is on YouTube already, pre-recorded, so not only I could see it, but, and this is where the concept comes in, you can see it. Because the concept of this entire thing is that I'm going to look for a match on YouTube. It doesn't matter where it came from. And I'm going to watch it, review it, counting if I know about the story or not of the match itself, or the storylines going into the match, or the promo segments or anything. It's going to depend if I know it already, or if I could watch something that can give me a context before the match. Maybe. I'm probably just going to go with it if I already know about it. But you guys are going to watch it yourself. Not just try to remember it. It's got to be something on YouTube that you can watch also. And then after you watch the match, because I'll leave the link in the comments, not the description, I'll leave it in the comments. You decide what I said made sense, or you give your own opinion about it. Much more interaction, because it'll be more fun that way. This is a match that I have to admit I almost completely forgot about, mainly due to the fact of what was going on during the time. This match was in 2019, the very beginnings of 2019, 10 months before the pandemic started. The COOF started, as they used to call it, because no one was allowed to say COVID, COVID-19. There you go. No, I got trauma from it, so I can't even say COVID-19. But right before that happened was this match. Now, let's put this in perspective, what I do remember and what was stated in the video itself. I do remember in 2018, going into 19, that Tessa got suspended. Not the suspension that came out in 2020. I'm talking about storyline-wise. Storyline, she already had the Knockouts Championship already. But due to her attitude, she got suspended and she was stripped of it. And eventually Taya won it. Now, Tessa managed to come back and she gets this match. She gets a street fight of the Knockouts Championship in Mexico City, Mexico. Now, back then, they were doing a lot of Mexico City matches with AAA. And I believe another company, what was the other company they were working with? CMML. I believe they also worked with CMML like 2017 to 18. Not talking about Pro Wrestling Noah, but I believe that was one of them, along with Border City Wrestling and Crash Wrestling. But this was around the time when Impact Wrestling was trying to rebuild itself after how bad it was going. So we get this match. We get a good street fight. We do. We get actually a good street fight between Tessa and Taya. And the parts that were really good was when they were in the ring. And this is something I hadn't seen at that time, where you got two knockouts in the ring. They unfold the chairs, and then they start smacking each other in the face and smacking each other in the chest. And Taya, being a pretty chesty little girl, she got her titty hit just large and hard enough that part of her boob popped out of her top. Because at that time, her overshirt had been ripped off by Tessa. And pretty much, at this time, one of her trainers, I don't remember who it was, he had gotten very sick or passed away, I can't remember, and that shirt was commemorating him. So, this was supposed to be a very emotional match to go into it. Now, here's the thing. The match was not perfect because by near the end of the match, when it was time to end it, and Tessa wanted to spear, not Tessa, Tessa wanted to spear a Taya through a table that was, well, not a table, a door. A door that was in the ring. She tried once, they didn't hit it hard enough, and they both fell. Then Tessa backed off. Taya got back up. She ran at her, hit her again with the table, and that did not break it again. And then did a third time. It took getting a table that Tessa brought into the ring. Taya positioned it and pretty much did a stomp on her while she was laid out, and that was Tessa laid out on the table and stomped on her, that she won the match. In fact, I thought that Tessa won that match because I didn't remember it. I hadn't seen the match in so long. But in actuality, it was Taya who won that match. And I was like, wait a minute, I thought she won that match. But no, Tessa did not win that match. She lost it. And if I remember correctly, after 2019 going into 2020 is when the story for Tessa Blanchard changed, which I did not agree with. She became a face after, I think around that time when she was, no, halfway into the year, she turned from heel to face. And that she was doing matches with men now, trying to get the world championship. I believe she did get the X Division championship. I don't remember exactly. I think she might have gotten it once or tried to get it, and she didn't or did. I can't remember. But she did go after the world title. She faced well, pretty much a lot of people thought that Sami Callihan became Sally Callihan because he jobbed so much for her. And for me personally, I do remember how I was not liking the way Tessa was being booked. I didn't have a problem with her going after the world title at the time. Now, a lot of people didn't agree. A lot of people thought this was stupid. But it was something you didn't see often. It was a rare thing to see a woman going after a man's championship. Very few women have done it. Like Chyna went after the IC title and won it. She was one of the rare women that ever did it. And to this day, I believe she still is. The only woman that won a major championship in WWE, and it was not meant to be for a woman. So here, they were doing the same thing, but I felt, if I remember correctly, there was two ways they could have done this better. One, they could have done the Daniel Bryan treatment for her, where she was an underdog and not mention her gender, because that was a major issue for me personally. They made it all about her being a woman, and I wanted her to be an underdog. Not an underdog woman, but an underdog. That's what I wanted. That's what I felt was a better story for her. The other angle I thought would have been Tessa should have been like Chyna and was 100% dominant and only went after the most prestigious title with a faction behind her, because I felt it was important that she have a faction behind her. But they didn't do that either. It was Tessa going up against men, particularly Sami Callihan. So, was the match itself good, other than the botch where they could not break the door because they kept doing the spear into it? It didn't break. But it was not a bad match. I felt that was done very well. Commentary, this is where it gets interesting. Commentary around that time was Josh Matthews and Don Callis before he went to AEW. And Don was the one who made commentary sound way better than it was. Because when you look back at Don Callis, he was a better talker than Josh Matthews was. It's just the truth. A lot of people just could not stand Josh. A lot of people said that Josh was just plain annoying. Me personally, it wasn't that Josh was annoying. Josh to me sounded like he was just copying a Jim Ross or a Vince McMahon. The way he spoke was either Jim Ross or Vince really influenced. And I've always felt that technically I think he was more Vince McMahon than he was Jim Ross. But you could easily say sometimes he went to Jim Ross's style and other times he went to Vince McMahon's style. That is the way that he spoke. But I really wanted to see his style. And for me personally, I just didn't think, ow, stomach, started itching. I didn't think that he really didn't show his real style, his own personality. For me personally, that's the way it felt. But working with Don Collins really compensated a lot for that. So you got a good story, the way it was going at the time. You got Tessa Blanchard, who was hot at the time. It was before we started hearing about the accusations. And Taya Valkyrie, who was already known in AAA and had been Dorana's champion. She was that over. And I believe at that time, that was a great match. Had flaws in it? Yes. But was it a great match? Yes. And this is just me talking about an old match that many people will not think about much, but I truly believe was good. And I hope you enjoyed the Wrestling Recall. Well, I could say Zane's Wrestling Recall. I decided to drop the Zane Wrestling Recall. I hope you enjoy it. Please give me a comment. Watch the video first. Watch the match first. Unless you've already seen it and you remember it flat out, watch the match first. It's about 10 to 12 minutes long. Watch it first. Think about it for a minute. And then come back and comment. I think that would be the best way to be. Watch the match, then comment. Hope you enjoy it. Peace.